Hey, I'm Damar Hodge. I'm 22 years old and I'm currently a student here in the University of Cincinnati. Woo, go Bearcats. I'm originally from North Carolina. That's where I was born and raised. I was born to a single mother at the time. She was in the Marine Corps, so I'm a Marine Corps brat. I am now going to tell you my story and I guess kind of my path with Jesus and how I've gotten to where I am today here in Cincinnati. So in North Carolina, my mom got married when I was 3 years old to a great guy. My stepfather, he's an amazing human being. He helped raise me my whole life. They kept me in church. Very great, big church people. My dad was a church musician. He was the, I guess you would say, music director of every church he was in. My mom was a church administrator, so she did everything from like counting money to, I don't know, whatever. She basically ran the church on the business side. And I was a drummer from the age of 5. I was the church drummer, the main drummer from the age of 5 till forever. I was also a youth leader. My parents were a big part of the youth program, so I became a youth leader. At the age of 10, I was officially named the youth leader of a teen program, which is really cool. So I was really in the church. I was really in God, and God was really in me for a lot of years. When I was 12 years old, my parents decided, prayed to God and felt God called them to start a church. And I became a pastor's kid, which was great because I was still the church drummer. I got to lead, like by myself now, a youth program. Got to be able to speak and teach at different youth events, which was really cool. Like, it was an amazing opportunity. I got to go to other churches and speak because I was this young 12-year-old that knew so much about God. And people were amazed by me. I was amazed by God. It was amazing. When I was 14 years old, I started to go downhill a little bit. Now, growing up so in church, I did church every single day, and I realized I wasn't that cool. In school, I didn't have very many friends. I wasn't very liked because I was weird. I was the weird church kid, which I understand isn't bad now, but then I didn't. It led me to get into the complete opposite crowd. I got around a lot of gang members, and a lot of people that did drugs, and a lot of people that like to have sex, and it kind of led me down a path of doing those things, where I was considering joining a gang. I also was considered, like, I was doing drugs, and like not hard things, just smoking weed, but things that I should have done. And also I was having sex at the age of 14, and it became something that I wanted a lot and something that pleased me and what I found pleasure in. I started not to find pleasure in God at all, and this continued till when I was 15. My parents found out kind of what I was doing and what I was into, so they moved me to a different city in North Carolina, where I eventually got into the same exact things, but like a lot more into sex is where I was driven, and pornography and things of that nature were like kind of what kept me alive, which is bad, but that's where my focus was. And I continued that to the age of 18, where I started focused on going to the Marine Corps. I got a contract to the Marine Corps to be intelligence, but 4 days before my ship date, I got medically disqualified by the Marine Corps, so I wasn't allowed to go. It absolutely crushed me. It was a childhood dream of mine to be in the Marine Corps, so I didn't think I had anything else to do. So instead of looking to God, I immediately just drove back into the same exact thing, which is fornication. I was very depressed. I had no self-worth. I just looked to other girls and people for my self-confidence, and they couldn't give me any. I was completely down, and to make matters worse, my mom received a phone call saying that my papa had dementia. Dementia is actually what it's called, not dementia. And he was dying. He was very close to dying. So we as a family decided to move up to Ohio, Cincinnati. That's how I got here, and take care of my grandfather. I have 2 grandfathers up here, the one that has dementia and the one that was completely fine. The one that was completely fine actually died. He died in July of 2015 when I moved up here. And it was huge to me because he's one of the biggest people, one of the greatest men in my life that I really looked up to. And it was a complete shock to my whole family. It hurt. And then 3 weeks later, my grandfather with dementia died. and it tore me apart, it ripped me apart, and I was completely depressed by myself, and I had nowhere to turn now because I wasn't home. I was 6.5 hours away from North Carolina where my comfort was. So this time I did the right thing and I turned to God. To this day, I continue to turn to God with issues that bother me. I wasn't perfect. Over the last 3 years of my life, I haven't done everything right, but I know that I've kept God consistent in my life. And that is pretty much our story. If you have any questions, you can comment or hit up Pure Ministry Gmail, and I'm here to talk about anything. Love you guys.